Welcome to the Tech and Space Leader Show, where we learn lessons from leaders of the next frontier. I am your host, Lisa Dreher, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, Brian Kane. He is the CEO of GOST, Global Ocean Security Technologies. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. Happy to be here today.
Absolutely. Maybe you can start by giving us a little bit of background on yourself and GOST.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm the founder of the company about 20 years ago now. We started the company in 2005 in Fort Lauderdale. Grew up on the water, working for gas docks and things of that manner in Massachusetts. Moved down to Fort Lauderdale. Started doing marine electronics installs and yacht management. About a year into that, in 2004 is when we first met up with a big security company that had one of our clients' boats. And we started doing wireless security systems on boats, integrating everything from doors and motions and beam sensors to high water, AC power loss, DC power loss, smoke, CO2, everything you're worried about when you're on the boat. And we were offloading it at the time over cellular 2G over an RJ11 line. It called you and you could have a two-way voice conversation with your boat and talk to the people on board, arm and disarm the system. And if you missed the call, it called the next person down the line. Just went down to, the classic security system, calling people. And about a year and a half into that, we started getting inquiries for satellite tracking from insurance companies because boats, a lot more at the time, were getting stolen left and right. So we partnered up with a small little UK outfit at the time called Satomatics. We started doing Inmarsat D+, and started really educating the insurance companies on the difference between cellular-based tracking and Inmarsat. We've always been an Inmarsat provider. Tracking, and we moved over to Inmarsat M2M and did that for about 14 years. And then we moved over to the Orbcomm platform into the iSat Data Pro in 2020. But it's at the point with our tracking products where they're very, very much mandatory in the Florida area, where you have boats with 3, 4, or 5 engines on the back that can easily be stolen for humans, drugs, guns, and money to be, put onto boats and run in and out of countries. About 2008 or so, we got into video surveillance over 3G and some early LTE stuff, where we were streaming video off the boat to your BlackBerry phone, before apps were really a thing. So we started streaming video off the boat back then, and we were doing so over cellular and oftentimes some VSAT solutions as well from companies like KVH. And you can imagine the price per megabyte back then to get video off the boat. And it was definitely not quite the same quality we're used to these days, but we've become the dominant provider of maritime security to the leisure marine market. That's our main focus. So our 3 main products are security and monitoring systems, satellite tracking systems, and video surveillance systems. And we sell to marine electronics dealers all over the globe. U.S. is our biggest market. Also, we sell to a lot of marine electronics distributors and also boat builders. So we help clients feel safer whether they're on the boat or away from the boat. It's not just what's going on when I'm 1,500 miles away. It's I have a boat that goes 10 knots. I have my family on board, and we're cruising through the Caribbean right now. And something, quote Captain Ron, if something that's going to happen, it's going to happen out there. And people want to have the security on these boats that when they it's a big investment, they want to feel safe in it.
Indeed. Oh my gosh, what an amazing heritage your company has. That's so exciting. Maybe you can talk a little bit about, GOST really known for this real-time satellite tracking and vessel security. What makes your solution so critical to the maritime industry, especially to the, leisure maritime industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's just situational awareness for our customers, our insurance customers, to understand exactly where this boat is, completely operating outside the cellular footprint. A lot of our clients' boats aren't running AIS, or if they do have AIS, it may be off at the time. And using Inmarsat, we're able to, from our website, we are able to ping the boat anywhere on Earth except the extreme poles, and we have responses back with exact lat, long, speed, and direction, sometimes in as little as 10 seconds. So it's very critical, not just for tracking down stolen boats or seeing if a lot of our customers are not owner operators. They have a full-time crew. They want to see if the boat's gotten from point A to point B. It's also incidents like, oftentimes people are towing boats behind larger boats, and sometimes, rough seas, people will have to cut a boat loose if it's a danger when they're towing in rough seas. And we've actually had that. And the neat thing is, I've literally had customers that I'd had to let go of a tender under tow, and uh, they dropped it like 20 miles off Miami, and the next day they went out and sent a retrieval out to go get it, but it was not a salvage. It wasn't a salvage. Why? Because the GOST Inmarsat Orbcomm transponder was on there, and it never became a salvage because they tracked it every 2 minutes as it went up the Gulf Stream, and they were able to pick it up off Lauderdale like the next day. So
Oh my
it's things like that happen all the time. But having it not being a salvage or paying out, half the cost of the boat or whatever it is, to go and get it back, you just, went and, towed it back yourself, and you never lost it. So it makes a big difference.
That is amazing. What are the biggest challenges in connecting vessels when they are out of cellular range?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, a lot of our clients want to have video streaming off the boat. They want to see exactly what's going on. And, the challenge is obviously that, first off, 5G is not great offshore. Most of the 5G stuff is pointed inwards toward land, so the more the population is. So, it's more 4G offshore within, a few miles of shore. But outside that, it's just a matter of what's a client I'm on board. I mean, I must have 5 to 10 clients a day that are removing their satellite solution and putting on a Starlink, their traditional dome, some type of L-band or KVH or Telian, and they're doing the Starlink and doing new partner programs there. So it's having that connectivity offshore is very critical, and people just want to know who's on their boat, who's off the boat. I don't want to be dependent on any kind of cellular coverage. I'm going to rely off the Starlink for this, and I need to see exactly what's going on when I'm away from the boat.
Sure, sure. In terms of the satellite communications, what newer safety and performance benchmarks are enabled now in the maritime world?
I mean, so on the AIS side, you're seeing a lot of new AIS products that have satellite integration into them, so that's not depending on VHF basically repeating it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, the I would say that satellite AIS is one of the key benchmarks that we are definitely seeing. I mean, what we do on the satellite side is much more private. We don't we're not involved in the setting any kind of standards for. We are a private satellite tracking solution that our customers get. It's not mandated to have by any kind of government body or anything of that matter. It's more insurance and the end user, and
Yeah.
the client gets the information. Nobody else has access to that information. A lot of our clients they want privacy. They don't want the whole world knowing that where their $10 million yacht is. And
Yeah.
I have clients that literally, maybe it's a 60-foot boat where they don't have to have AIS on all the time, and they want to be able to, I don't need to go cruise out the islands with my family, and I come back and my gardener says, "Oh, I see you're out in Nassau this weekend," because they're all on the same. It's
Yeah.
my own private tracking. My family and loved ones and friends know where I am. They can have access to the viewer access of the tracking website. But yeah, it's we come at everything from a security perspective, and our customers want their privacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, can you talk a little bit about the insurance piece? Because it sounds like this connectivity can also support, from getting insurance perspective, or maybe it's even required in some cases. Is that the case?
Yeah, it absolutely is. It used to be like you get a discount for having the Ghost tracking system on board, but now it's just mandated. You can't even buy coverage,
Yeah.
often, especially if it's a boat in Florida, or southern region of the country, where they are getting stolen. And it's at the point where we'll have boat builders, begging us to expedite. When a client goes to our website and they activate at ghost.com, they fill out it was give us a day or two to get this thing on the grid, make sure it pings. And boat builders, we call us begging us to expedite an activation because they can't close on the boat. They can't close on the boat because the bank won't close. The bank won't close because insurance is saying, hey, we need to know where this thing is. Insurance won't close, so they'll have a letter from GOST saying, hey, this thing's active and reporting. Because when we turn them on the grid, we don't know what the status of that boat's going to be. It's going to be, is the antenna powered up? Yes.
Right.
Is inside a building? Yes. Okay. Well, we can't see through that metal roof right now. It needs to be out in the open, that type of thing. So we have to
Sure.
have an active ping and that know that it's reporting. And that's one key challenge on the insurance side, is just to make sure that it's protected and we know where it is. So
Yeah, makes sense. So I understand that Ghost is supporting a team that is rowing in the world's toughest row. Can you talk a little bit about what the world's toughest row is, and then how Ghost is actually supporting this team?
yeah, so we first got involved in the world's toughest row last year when there's two girls that rowed across the Pacific on their team, and they ended up winning it. They did it. That was a pretty amazing experience. And this crew this year, it's a group of four. It's a men's team of four of them, and pretty impressive boats. They got two small cabins on each side of it, and they're taking shifts. And you know, uh, through some mutual contacts, met up with these guys, and we said, hey, let's do a tracking system and track you as you go across the Atlantic. A pretty impressive setup they're doing. I believe it's early next year. They're leaving. Maybe right after Christmas. I think they're heading out. Rowing across the North Atlantic in at the start of winter, I can only imagine. But
Yeah.
actually two separate tracking systems just to have a little bit of redundancy on there. We're doing our Nav Tracker 1.0, which is basic Inmarsat Data Pro tracker that's working off the vessel's batteries. We're also doing our new GOST Casper, which is a Inmarsat Data Pro transponder with a solar array on it that does not connect to the boat's power. I learned that lesson from the last when the last cruise going across the Pacific. Like anything, our tracking systems do draw down power, so they had to turn down off the tracking system for a few days because they had to prioritize power for the water maker, which
Oh,
it's kind of
yeah.
important out there. I get it, but I wanted to have additional redundancy, so in case for some reason they had to shut any breakers down to prioritize power anywhere, if they're rowing for a bunch of days on end and they have nothing but cloud cover and they're not getting good current coming in from the solar arrays, then sometimes they have to focus on what's most important. So at least we have a separate tracking system that they have in addition to the basic 1.0. So yeah, it's an exciting opportunity, and it'll be a fun thing to track. So you'll see more publicity on that on the GOST and the Orbcom side.
That's amazing. So I think it's Team Seneca Navy. Is that what
Yeah.
they're called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Team Navy. Yeah. It's we'll put a link to it on the blog. It's pretty impressive. It's one of the kids on the team grew up in the same town that I did, and they've been training out in Ohio all summer, and
Oh
Ohio
my
is
gosh.
a lot different than the North Atlantic in January. But God bless them. I hope they have a great journey, and hopefully they can win it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be watching. Oh my gosh. So brave. Yeah. I've been out in the North Atlantic in the middle of summer, and yeah, it's one of the roughest places I think in the world in terms of having high seas and storms out there. So hopefully they're safe and sound the whole time, and yeah, and they are really successful in their row. That's exciting.
It is.
Yeah, in terms of product development from a GOST perspective, what are some of the, I guess, real world tasks that shape your product development?
I'll jump to some of our video surveillance setup. I mean, when we first got into video surveillance on boats, we were doing only analog cameras. They were encoders, and we were, here it is. It's saving locally. If there's someone comes into a certain area of it, you're going to get a push notification. But people are always on and off the boat, so you want to have more intelligent management. So we recently partnered up with a company out of New York called VM, and we launched a new Spectre AI, which bridges in video surveillance of any cameras on board, any kind of IP or analog cameras that are on board, and we're bringing in more facial recognition and 2 and 3 factor authentication, so really who's on and off the boat. You have approved people that. So let's say the the average, say, Viking owner or something like that. They're going to have owner, the significant other, kids, friends, close friends, captain, first mate, second mate, boat cleaner, boat mechanic, that type of stuff. These are the approved people. They actually upload images of here they are. Here's they'll sync up their Bluetooth. They'll sync up their GPS location in concert with Spectre AI. So we really have like 3-factor authentication. So it's kind of a always armed type security setup.
Yeah.
Basically, you only get push notifications for unauthorized people that are coming on the boat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. How do you view the role of the satellite service providers in the future of global maritime connectivity and safety?
Well, I mean, we've always been an Inmarsat centric company, so that's the one I could speak to specifically. I mean, we've always relied off, our selling point's always been, listen, Inmarsat's the same brand that every government on earth is pretty much using for their standards. So we bring that, we use the same standard that they're used to. So I see individual satellite companies as marketing themselves in concert with strategic value-added resellers that use their brand. I mean, our every one of our business cards, all our advertisement, we put Inmarsat all over it. We want the world to know that we use Inmarsat, and that's there's only so many players in that market. So I think it's important that there's key relationships where you're both relying off one another and co-marketing each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to shift gears for a minute and talk a little bit about your role as chairman of the National Marine Electronics Association, or NMEA. So tell us a little bit about that role and what you're doing there.
Yeah, so it's been an amazing association to give back to. The NMEA, the National Marine Electronics Association, is basically our mission statement is to be a self-sustaining worldwide organization committed to enhancing technology and safety of electronics used in marine applications and profitability of its members. So what we do is we set the standards for our first CAN bus was NMEA 0183, then NMEA 2000. Now we have NMEA 1net, which is a IPv6 based CAN bus setup. But the most popular one that everyone has on most leisure marine boats is going to be NMEA 2000. That's on millions of boats worldwide right now, being used just for interoperability between manufacturers. And if you want to go on the NMEA 2000 bus, you have to have an approved device so that it plays nice and doesn't interfere with anything else on the bus. So we also run training for marine electronics installers. We have various levels of basic marine electronics installer, advanced NMEA 2000 installer. So we have a variety of different other course loads. So we set the standards for how to put electronics onto boats. So it's been a very fulfilling thing to be a part of. The NMEA really makes sure that products are being installed properly on boats for marine electronics, just to get it done right. Because if it's not getting done right, then you're going to have problems and offshore when it really matters. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great. So I want to end with one last question, and that is really about the future of connected vessels and what you see happening over the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's, on the NMEA front, I'll give you an example of one particular thing that we're really focused on right now is the NMEA cloud. And that's basically setting a kind of an API standard so that anything going on the NMEA 2000 or 1net side on the boat, we can broadcast it off for specific PGNs on the CAN bus, essentially. So we really got involved in this with the Waves Task Force, which is basically helping to stop whale hits on vessels to the best of our ability. Using electronics means where we can help prevent not just striking a whale, but also striking a container or, cross-referencing data. So let's say the great example I love to always go back to is we want boats to be able to talk to each other, kind of similar to like we have with Waze. Like we all have Waze on our phones so we can see, when we're driving, we can see where if there's an accident up ahead, or if there's a speed trap or something of that manner. So
Yeah.
in a similar way, we see that the interoperability where we need to have that. Let's go to some common multifunctional display manufacturers that operate on the NMEA 2000 and eventually the One Net network. If that, let's say multiple transducers on some smaller boats pulling into an inlet detect that they just missed the bottom and they're shoaling on the inlet, and they just missed the bottom by a couple feet, and multiple boats saw that thing, we can mark that as a PGA on the bus, and through companies like Starlink, we're able to more easily and efficiently get that information off the bus, so that 80-foot sport fish that's coming into the same inlet 10 minutes later and is on autopilot to that inlet, they get a warning saying that, hey, they're shoaling on the inlet. The last 3 boats that went through detected that they just missed the bottom, and you draw a heck of a lot more than that. So divert north or divert south and go to Port of Miami or whatever. And it's things like that. And that is a direct relationship to the NMEA mission to use technology to increase safety and security at sea. And we want to make sure that all manufacturers in the industry are working to have some kind of interoperability standard where key messages like that are able to get out.
That is incredibly, that is incredibly exciting and super relevant. I mean, here in the Puget Sound, we're on the West Coast, and I could see so many useful things for that. I mean, we have the resident orcas here, as well as the transient orcas, and we definitely want to protect them. We also have large debris that sometimes ends up in our waterways. So being able to be alerted of that in advance, just kind of as a matter of course, would be amazing. So very exciting.
Nobody wants to hit a whale. Nobody wants to. It's a bad day for the boater. It's a bad day for the whale, obviously.
Yes.
Fortunately, the advisory strikes aren't that significant on the smaller boats. It's mostly the larger commercial ships with big bow pulpits and stuff like that. But it's also not hitting a submerged container that fell off that's floating. I mean, it's
absolutely
just being able to mark hazards in the ocean and get their drift rating and get data from other boats that are going in the area, and there's a wealth of data that can be out there and exposed. And it's important that we get in front of it, because we also want to have some privacy part of that too. You don't want, you can get the information off the boat. You don't need to know exactly, which one it is,
Sure.
So again, keep it kind of like a Waze.
Incredibly exciting. Wonderful. Okay. If somebody wants to learn more about GOST, what should they do?
You can go ahead and just go to GOST, GOST, that stands for Global Ocean Security Technologies.com. Wealth of resources on our website. A lot of different write-ups in various magazine publications over the years, and some good videos, and just talking about use cases where we've saved lots of boats over the years. So whenever it happens, we're usually talking about it, and owners come to us. We have to work the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show, and 2 weeks we'll be down at Lauderdale for the 20th year in a row. And you wouldn't believe the stories that people come in. They'll come up and look what you guys did last week. You caught these jerks off the boat. They were about to steal all the rods, and stuff like that. And we love those stories. And I'm usually like, all right, can we get some PR on that? So come on by the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show too if you're in South Florida. I would love to see you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for making time for this, Brian. It was great, and we really look forward to having you on the show again as GOST continues to bring new technologies to the maritime industry, as well as I would love to hear about how the world's toughest row goes with Team Seneca.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about that.
Excellent. I do want to take a moment to thank GuideForce for hosting these sessions. To learn more about GuideForce, you can visit guideforce.com. And we'll see you next time on the Tech and Space Leader Show.